Are we live yet? Good morning, everyone. Well, we're coming up on the end of the zodiac sign of Cancer. Soon it will be Leo. I love these mercurial spirits and genie of the Qliphothes. Well, anyway, good morning. And we've got an interesting couple of letters to read and answer today. They concern Goetia and the practice of Solomonic magic. Always interesting. So let me find my page here. Here we go. I want to use demon sigils at the office. Dear Baba Lon, I know you're super busy, but if you have the time to answer my questions, I would be so grateful. We have some people who work closely with us, whom we found to be conspiring against us. We have, let's see, I'm wondering if there is any safe way, like posting a sigil over the office door or something, that could just boomerang their efforts away from us. I really appreciate your time. Sincerely, name withheld. Dear name withheld, this is such a good question and such a good opportunity to concisely crystallize my thoughts on this issue that I'm going to do it before I finish my first morning cup of tea. I've learned over the years that there is no better boomerang than the energy generated by the karmic reaction to the perpetrator's own unworthy motives and actions. The strength and efficacy of this reaction is proportionally relative to the level of your non-attachment and non-attached innocence in the matter. This is not to say that evoking a demon and using its sigil to zap your enemy at work might not work. But if done properly, such a working would most likely result in a personal magical adventure in which you'll have to confront and overcome terrifying personal issues within yourself. Perhaps a life-altering adventure which in all likelihood would dwarf any office inconvenience you are trying to avoid in the first place. If this situation does not merit such a character-building, knock-down, drag-out battle with your own dark and hidden issues, if you don't believe it is the right moment to provoke a battle to prove to yourself and to the cosmos the innocence and integrity of your own motives and actions, then I advise you confront this issue on the same plane it exists right now. It would be far safer and more effective just to simply punch these material world people in their material world noses and take the consequences. I'm going to turn that. There we go. That would certainly be preferable to disturbing the fragile tranquility of your precious subconscious mind. Are you prepared to take that gamble? Are you in fact that undeserving of the slings and arrows of everyday business dealings? I hope this has been helpful. And now on to my tea. Baba Lon. and the second letter today. And this letter and my answer will be all we'll be doing this morning, because I'm busy getting ready for tonight's initiation presentation on Zoom. The question is, why do some Goetic magicians go mad? Hello, Babylon. We met briefly several years ago during a lecture you gave on tarot, which included some handouts on Goetic affiliations with tarot. While you volunteered your time to answer questions after the lecture, and even included an open-end offer to try to respond to questions occurring later, after once I digested your material, I found that I had to do quite a bit of research and steep for quite a while. Thus, my questions have to do with the safety and effectiveness of Goetic evocation. I note that it has been well documented by your own comments in your book, Angels, Demons, and Gods of the New Millennium, that a lot of evokers tend to develop a predilection toward insanity. In the book, you mention in the last chapter your assessment of the phenomenon and your considerations of it. This includes an outline of sorts on how to avoid such pitfalls. I am moved to comment that such a methodology, such as not micromanaging the demon, or in my phrase, becoming intoxicated with deity energy, authoritative position, is apparently a bit challenging for corporate executives, much less a ceremonialist. I have noted that most folks who dominate the more colorful exchanges on the internet forums, including the author magicians A and B, seem to have evoked more than one critter, and this seems to be a common constituent to their eventual destabilization, both of their physical and mental health. I also have to wonder aloud if it isn't the strain of attempting physical manifestation that doesn't contribute heavily to these health problems. I have no statistical data to corroborate with. I have to write that I've noticed that your writings only specify an invocation of one, Orobos. And per the references, I have one of his attributes that he is not only loyal to the exorcist, he protects the same from temptation by other spirits, presumably even other demons. So I have to ask, have you managed to evoke more than Orobos? I've read some of the work of Poke Runyon, but only concerning his work with one spirit, Visago. Have you, or are you aware of any corroboration with other magicians' documentation of the demon plane and their, quote, relative IQ? Thank you for your time. Name withheld. Hi, name withheld. I'm not familiar with author magicians A and B or their work, nor do I participate in or follow online discussions on these matters. I am, however, somewhat familiar with the work and theories and attitudes of Poke Runyon, and generally find them to be compatible with my field theory. While I'm not an official member of his organization, I know Poke to be, if I dare use the term, a sane individual who has succeeded in carving out a rich and balanced life for himself, unencumbered by delusional excesses that often plague those who make magic part of their lives. In other words, Poke has a life that is enriched by his magical practices, but not defined by them. This might be because he was fundamentally wise and balanced before he even took up the wand and sword. This might be the key to your concerns. Your questions might have less to do with the number of spirits one calls up and more to do with why one is calling up the spirits in the first place. I know of 2 individuals who systematically called up all 72 Goetic spirits over a period of several months. The last time I looked, they were both certifiably barking mad. But I don't believe they became mad because they evoked all 72 spirits. I believe they were already mad to think they needed to evoke all 72. They were already nuts, and the colorful psychodrama of Solomonic magic just amplified their existing pathologies by the power of 72. I know for a fact that over the years, Poke has evoked many more spirits than Visago. In 1994, I evoked all 72 during a formal ceremony that lasted a little over 12 hours, 36 in the daytime and 36 at night, as a part of a weekend operation to charge the first deck of my Tarot of Ceremonial Magic. And that's a story in itself. But once I gave these spirits their charge and embedded them in the cards, I did not otherwise retain them in my stable of familiars. That marathon operation not included, I've evoked fewer than a dozen spirits for individual tasks and currently retain only 2 in an ongoing relationship. As far as cooperation with other magicians on which spirits are safe or not safe, etc., I'm only mildly interested. I believe that because no 2 magicians are alike, the spirits ultimately behave differently for each magician. As long as you proceed with confidence and a healthy sense of humor, I don't think you have much to fear from this kind of work. But please remember that when you evoke a Goetic spirit, you're evoking an adventure. Living through that adventure turns you into a different person. The type of person who deserves to receive what you ask from the Spirit. I know this has been too brief, but I hope it's been somewhat helpful. My best, Baba Lon. And that's where we'll stop today. Tomorrow we'll pick it up with answering a letter that asks, shouldn't I be nice to the Goetic spirits so they won't be mad at me and try to hurt me? It's a good question. Until tomorrow then, though. Oh. Until tomorrow, continue to be good to yourself and be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love under will. I'll see many of you tonight. Bye-bye.